Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm Zeus Kerravala from ZK Research. I'm here at Bethpage Black, home of the 2025 Ryder Cup. It's day 0, if you will. I'm with Michael Cole, the CTO of the Ryder Cup Europe. Michael, I first met you a couple of years ago at Marco Simone. I've been trying to track you down since then, so I appreciate you doing that with me.
I've been busy.
Yeah, no, it's well, you're always busy, right? So, when you gave us a presentation, you talked about this being the first AI-enabled Ryder Cup. Why don't we start there? Obviously, AI is a big buzzword. What does that mean in the terms of the Ryder Cup to have it AI-enabled?
I think the Ryder Cups historically have been complicated operationally with lots of manual input and lots of manual kind of processes to get things done, quite frankly. What we're seeing now is with the evolution of technology, we've been able to kind of take a step back and to implement AI enablement to help drive efficiency and help drive additional insights that we arguably wouldn't be getting before. So one example would be through AI operations and using the technology really to spot the symptoms. That could be anything from intrusion detection in a cabinet through to a change of temperature in our network operating systems, and identifying when that system or symptom comes about. The technology is triggered and coming up with the key insight and hopefully and even the evolution of that. So, we have a number of examples of where AI is being deployed across the smart city evolution is like you see.
Yeah, and so it's really all parts of operations now. AI, I guess, is playing a role. I know one of the things you talked about in this little press conference with us is turning a green field, not greenfield, but green field, right, into a smart city. But it's, in some ways, it's more challenging than that. I wanted you to maybe get into a little bit of that, where a smart city, you would have, 50, 60,000 people. You kind of know where they are. But here, because of the nature of the Ryder Cup, people move with the players, right? And so you might have a lot of people on hole 1 at 9 o'clock in the morning, but there's going to be nobody there at 11 o'clock, right after all the groups. And so talk about the challenge of trying to manage an environment where you're the smart city citizens, if you will, are constantly moving.
Yeah, in a more simplistic world where we were a single venue kind of sport, you could deploy the technology and it undertakes its job. For the points you raise, we're not in that environment. A golf course by its nature is anywhere from 250 to 300 acres. You could get almost 200 football pitches in this environment.
Yeah.
So we have to think about the deployment of technology in a different way. One example is the vision analytics. We've got over 80 cameras out there that are located and deployed in what I will call more kind of tactical hotspots. So running cameras in our merchandise, we've got 26 cameras in our merchandise, for example.
Just in merch?
Just in merch.
Wow.
We've got 3 on the ingress, we've got 20 inside, and we've got 3 on the exit. The ones on the ingress and the exit are doing people count. The ones inside are looking for densities of people. So we're looking for, the hotspots of where there are high density of people, lower densities of people, and then we're using the intelligence to kind of work with us into why is that important? Do we have too many people in merch? Do we not have enough volunteers? And looking at the key insights, are there more attractive areas? Have we got the layout of merch in the right place? Can we make changes mid-tournament? The key difference, I think, from previous Ryder Cup to where we are now is, on the one hand, we could say this is the first truly AI-enabled Ryder Cup. On the other hand, I could also say it's the first time we've had real-time analytics. Being able to action and respond proactively to the moment. And that is a key difference from this Ryder Cup to previous Ryder Cups.
Yeah, now, whenever you have this kind of environment with cameras and sensors and things like that, the network's going to play an important role. I know HPE is a key, is a critical supplier of infrastructure. So can you talk a little bit about the relationship with the HPE, how the role of the network's changed, and how you're working with them in making sure that all the things you want to do, the network's going to enable you to do?
Well, infrastructure is critical.
Yeah.
It's probably almost the less sexy part of what we talk about when we talk about innovation and creativity, but it is essential for what we have to deliver. It's what I call building the stage. You know, the show follows through the innovation. If you don't get that stage correct, then you are sitting on a likelihood of failure at some stage. And that failure could come about through, malicious activity or non-malicious but unintentional activity, or just sheer volume of people. One of the points you mentioned earlier on is, you may have 5, 6, 7,000 people following Rory around the course, or following, Bryson DeChambeau around the course. And that has an impact. It may saturate the cell network. It may slow down the onboarding and the internet access through the Wi-Fi. And we've got to be able to scale this infrastructure, not only to accommodate changing environments, but ensure that, we are giving people a level of connectivity wherever they are on the course. And we have to work with a range of technologies. It could be cellular, it could be satellite connectivity, or it could be Wi-Fi, private 5G. All of those are in operation around this course. That's part of the complexity that we have that doesn't exist in a single venue sport environment.
Yeah, well, that's fascinating that all those have to work together. In fact, I think Marcus Simone in 2023 was the first time private 5G had been deployed, used it as backhaul, but it plays a more important role here today, right? You're using 5G for more than that.
Yeah. There's still a degree of evolution, I believe, in the adoption of 5G. And, there are still choices to be made around, public network slicing or private 5G infrastructure. Equally, 5G itself isn't necessarily the ultimate answer in terms of its true capabilities. It's, that the range of 5G in terms of connectivity can be a little less, but once you get that connectivity, then you're going to be advantaged through faster up speeds and faster downloads as well. So it's really about how we use these technologies in a complementary way and put the right technologies in the right areas, utilizing private 5G, traditional Wi-Fi, cellular, working with the cellular providers, doing mobile offload if that is necessary, satellite connectivity where we can't get to areas, of course, because there isn't the power. In Marcus Simone, we had solar powered.
Yes, I remember that.
Points, and why do we do that? Not because it was a great story. It's because those parts of the course we physically couldn't get power to, so we had no choice. So we operate in this complex environment, and the true solution is not single technology. It's how technology solutions complement one another and give you that blended approach.
Now, for the AI that's being used here, you talked about some of the operational benefits, but as a fan of the game, if I'm a patron of the Ryder Cup, am I going to notice AI? Are there things here for me?
Yes, we've got a great feature. I think one of the big successes in Marcus Simone was the outcome IQ. And this was really our version of probability analysis. What is a probability? What is a consequence of Tommy Fleetwood's shot out from the third on day 3 in the 4-ball? Where does that put him in terms of likelihood of winning his match, Team Europe's session, and what does it mean overall for the match? Now, probability and outcome IQ was hugely successful for the fans, but also the broadcasters and the media. So we've taken that further now. For the Ryder Cup this year, we've introduced AI-enabled outcome IQ. So now we're not only given the probability analysis or the statistical analysis, we're putting shot context around that as well. What was the distance of the drive from the tee? What is the distance from ball location to the pin? what is the consequence of this shot if that likelihood or probability exists or doesn't exist. And that is all driven through AI intelligence. The speed of doing that is down to single-digit seconds. Virtually impossible to have any form of manual integration deriving the same insight and intelligence. So that is, a good example of actually where AI is benefiting the fan through greater contextualization of every shot that's being played.
Yeah, well, AI everywhere, I guess, and I'm getting the hook here. So just one last question. As we look ahead to 2027 and we move the Ryder Cup back to Europe, what are some of the things that you're looking at today that you think might impact operation and fan experience in 2 years?
Well, technology is moving at a massive
faster than I've ever seen it. Yeah.
Well, and it's one of our big challenges is how we can kind of predict and forecast actually where technology is going to be, even in as short a period as 2 years. But I know AI will have a key place to play. I think we will see a greater evolution of agentic AI. So we go from generative AI and automated integration to now where actually technology is not only spotting those symptoms and that insight, but is now acting. It's doing the behavioral outcome on behalf of teams. It excites me because it means through technology I can extend my team. It may not be active people, it's technology doing the work for me. So I think agentic technology will have a key role to play in 2 years' time, but also personalization.
Yes,
giving the fan the ability to follow the player on the whole, at the session, on the day that they want. So I think personalization, taking that content and driving it down to individuals' requirements through the infrastructure, again, is going to play a big part in the innovation story.
All right, and one final one. Europe going to retain the title?
Of course.
Yeah.
Goes without saying.
All right, so I guess we'll see that on Sunday. So so for this Ryder Cup, AI everywhere, both from a fan perspective, operational. I know a lot of the players rely on the data that comes out of AI today, so it's really changed the game.
Yes, it has. Both captains are putting a greater emphasis on analytics and performance. This afternoon we will see the pairings come out, and I know the captains will be utilizing technology as well as their own sensors to help them formulate what is the right teams throughout the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, well, that's a great way to end, because no matter how much AI we have, we still need people to use some common sense to make sure we're doing the right thing.
Indeed.
Yeah. So on behalf of Michael Cole, CTO of Ryder Cup Europe and the DP World Tour, Zeus Kerravala from ZK Research, and thanks for watching. Give us a like, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you on my next episode of ZKast. So thank you very much, Michael.